Well, good day, y'all. I'm going to be building a friction-driven scooter. So what I've done is I've gone off to Home Depot here in Canada, and I picked up one of these fellas. It's a curved shaft trimmer, weed whacker, basically. Brand spanking new. It was 110 bucks Canadian with tax, and I brought it home, and I basically took it apart. So you've got, the housing and all that sort of stuff. All these bits that I'll mostly throw out, keep the oil, keep the whacker stuff for my real weed whacker to rewind it. But anyway, I stripped it down and got to a point here with this one where you have this little piece on the end of this that holds the starter mechanism all together. So to get that fella off, because it's threaded on here, right, and the starter mechanism is in between for pulling, right? So what you're going to need is, if you got one handy or you can borrow one from a neighbor, is a brake kit for compressing brake calipers. And in that kit you get one of these fellas, and you put it on the end of your ratchet like so. But what it does is it locks around those little grooves. As you can see those little grooves there, one there, one there, and one there, and it's screwed down tight. So if you get one of these and you put it on the end of your ratchet, and then you take your big flat screwdriver and very carefully wedge it in to stop the flywheel from turning. You see, you got to be careful because that's a magneto, and the magneto is necessary to run the engine, because that's where it gets the spark from, is this magneto setup. Okay, this is for the kill switch. You don't need all that with this particular rig that I'm setting up, and you'll learn why later. But anyway, so that's going to be pulled off. But you need the magneto for sure, because that's what drives, as you can see, there's your spark plug wire. So that's where it's getting electrical to give you the spark to fire the fuel to make it go. So anyway, so you put it in there. You lock it with a screwdriver very carefully against the fins of the flywheel. You can see them there. And it even tells you which direction to turn it to get it off. See? Off. Turn it that way. So once you get it in, you take it off, and away you go. Now, I've made about 8 or 9 of these things over the years, but I used the older 26cc Homelite motor, and it didn't have this system here, this shaft with this sleeve. So they've changed it up. So now I'm left with the conundrum, because with the other ones that I made, I went off to a machine shop and I had spindles turned that would, because with the older one you've got a shaft here that the mechanism internally in there connects to the drive shaft, and you could, way down here there's a nut head, and you could unscrew that subshaft, and then you just had a threaded, about yay long threaded piece coming out. So I went off and I had a bunch of these things made. Okay, it's a solid piece of steel, precision cut and drilled and then threaded. So I put a little thread lock on there, threaded on, and the motor was basically ready to go. Well, I don't have that luxury anymore, because this is too small to go on here. Because even if I space the motor further away, it's not going to work. So, like everybody else, I went onto YouTube and I see that everybody's using pegs for those BMX bikes that the kids put on their front and rear axle nuts. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go pick up a pair of those, and I'm going to come back and drill it out and fiddle with it, and I'll let you know how it goes, because I'll show you. But what you're going to need to take this engine home light thingy all apart in the first place, you know, your basic tools, you know, a ratchet with an extension, maybe borrow this bit here, or this kit, whatever, from your neighbor, somebody who does a lot of brakes, or a mechanic maybe. It'll take you 2 minutes. You could take the whole darn thing down to the shop and get them to take it off for you if you want. But you're going to need some Torx bits. These are Torx, not Torex, Torx. So these are the ones that look like snowflakes, the head on them. Not the snowflake that you're probably building this kit for, or you are building one to put on a bike or whatever, but that kind of head on it. So you'll need a couple of those, couple different sizes. I think that's a 20 and a 25. I don't know. I had them floating around, and of course a big screwdriver, maybe a couple wrenches here and there. But for the most part, you can do all this without anything too substantial. And we'll go from there. This is part 1. See you soon. Ciao.